It's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without a live stream to step to. We getting ready for the Hill Truth Live, and I just need everybody to just hold tight for 120 seconds, and we're going to get right into this thing. $30 seconds until takeoff. Hill Truth Live. well, 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 well. It's been a long damn time. It's been a long damn time, but I can tell you this. It's been, it's going to be damn well worth the wait. It's going to be damn well worth the wait, I can tell you that. I guess the last time I came through was a Nintendo Direct. A lot of stuff has happened since then. We've seen the greatest sequel of all time finally being revealed in Metroid Prime 4. And a whole slew of other shit has went down ever since then. But I think with the stuff that has happened today and within the last 7 days, I decided, like, you know what, it's time to go ahead and come back and do this Hill Truth Live once again. A lot of games have been released. A lot of announcements has been released. A lot of lies have been revealed. People are still ass hurt about the Switch 2 and its capabilities of what it's going to be. People are still ass hurt that the Switch is going to surpass the PS2 and as the best-selling console of all time. People are still in denial about Nintendo's success. We see Miyamoto show off his hybrid of Top Golf and Dave and Buster's in a Nintendo museum. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to talk about today. It's a laundry list of stuff we're going to talk about today. But can the chat hear me? You want my volume actually up? That's surprising. I usually be blaring through the damn speakers on this damn thing. So I'm going to turn the volume up. The volume either going to be up or it's going to be down. I don't want to hear nothing about my volume is too damn high. once I turn this thing up. All right, we got it up now. So that should be better for the chat. What's good, everybody? I'm still seeing some of the usual suspects like Matthew Hammond. That boy don't miss anything. He on top of everything that happens on YouTube. He don't miss nothing. We got to talk about a lot of things, and I don't think I need to waste any more time. I think we need to go into the first thing, which is obviously what you see on your screen before you, and that is the almighty Phil Spencer of Xbox. Well, the powerless Phil Spencer of Xbox. I think that's the way I should categorize, addressed him now. The powerless Phil Spencer of Xbox. As many of y'all know, at the beginning of the year, around February, I forgot what time it was, Phil Spencer and his team with Matt Booty and Sandra Bond, the beautiful Sarah Bond, they decided they wanted to hold an emergency Xbox Update podcast interview. And in that interview, this man said that they're gonna test 4 games out coming to other consoles. He said 4 games, nothing beyond that. Please don't take this as a signal that everything is coming, because it's not. End quote. That's what he said. And he also said, quote, of those games that are coming to other platforms, it's not Starfield or Indiana Jones. Well, fast forward to today, it seems like Phil Spencer lied through them goddamn yellow teeth he got. He lied right through them chubby ass cheeks. He lied right through them beady ass eyes of his. So we're going to sit up here. We're going to check out what Phil Spencer actually said. And I want y'all to make y'all determination whether this man lied to you, to me, to everybody else, or we wasn't listening properly. So I'm going to let Phil just speak for itself real quick about, what is actually going on here.
Games, most important things.
Oh, that sounds perfect. Lovely. Now back to the booth.
Oh, wait, hold on. I gotta rewind that. They just said, forget me. Okay, forget y'all too. Why this is acting up, because I definitely had it on spot. I don't know why I didn't act right. But, this man, well, I ain't even gonna say this man. They decided that they was going to announce Indiana Jones for PS5 coming in the spring of 2025. Now, I'm not a developer. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a developer. But I do understand common sense. And wow, this damn thing doesn't want to act right. What the fuck is going on? I understand common sense. And for this man to sit up here and say nothing is coming to other consoles in February, and then all of a sudden, here we are in August, and the game gets announced for PS5, 5 to 6 months later, somebody lying. Somebody ain't telling the damn truth. Somebody ain't keeping it 100. But we're going to find out. But we're going to let Phil Spencer speak for himself. And I want y'all to tell me if you think he lied through his teeth. Which I kind of already know the answer. But I want everybody else to really, really take heed to what he is saying take heed to the actual words that are coming out of his mouth, and take heed to the little glimpse that he said at the end, which is pretty much
Amazing new stuff from
the
Indiana
future.
Jones and the Great Circle as well,
yeah.
as well as that exciting release date. We also saw the news about PlayStation as well, which is really cool. I'm really interested in that. So I want to know how this connects back to Xbox's perspective on how and when this approach happens to other titles.
I mean, I'll start just saying Machine Games is doing such a nice job with that game. I thought it showed really well. And that's the most important thing is quality of the
Absolutely.
games,
Yeah.
teams that are getting support that can go build the game. And it was just nice. The long gameplay segment that they had, I thought was fantastic. Going to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch, and I think at Showcase, I might have said from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look.
Now, I want to stop him right there because he switched his words this time around. Because that is what he said, but that last part is not what he said in that interview. he did not say that last part. They asked him, literally, is any of these games that's coming to other platforms going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones? And he said, no, it will not be Starfield or Indiana Jones. But let's let Phil continue to, run his little mouth here.
Look, as our franchises are getting stronger, our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to go do. So I look at this, how can we make our games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow, both on console, on PC, and on cloud. And I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. And I think that us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. So for us as Xbox, health of Xbox, health of our platform, and our growing games, most important things.
Oh, that sounds perfect. Lovely. Now back to the booth. I saw you both walk
Can everybody hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh my God, that's the wildest. I swear to God, I always have the craziest stuff happen during a live stream. So my regular mic completely just stopped working. So I had to go scramble and find another microphone. So I don't know how good this one. I don't know how good this one sounds because this one is pretty old. Um, yeah, man, them Xbox guys tried to take me down, bro. I was finna, rip Phil Spencer a new asshole. But damn, it's like, what in the world, bro? So how this mic sound, man? 'Cause I might just end this stream if this mic sounds really trash. If y'all can't understand what I'm saying, how this mic sound. Yeah, so yeah, I guess we're going to have to start all the way back over. You know what I mean? We're going to have to start all the way back over because Jesus Christ, that was them higher ups at Microsoft didn't like me talking shit. So, but too bad. Now I'm really about to go in. Y'all let my microphone mess up. I'm really about to go in now. So we're gonna go ahead and rewind Phil Spencer and let him let him go ahead and you know put himself in a hole here. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what he's talking about. Yeah, so we got to understand a couple of things here, man. Couple of things here. Like I was saying, in February, Phil Spencer decided he said there's going 4 games are going to come to other consoles and nothing else was going to come. It was just going to be those 4 games, and that was going to be it. And it was not going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones, but you know, here we are today at Gamescom. 6 months later, 5 to 6 months later, and here we are. Indiana Jones is announced for PS5. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how you just jump from not having a game coming at all to a game coming. So, like I said, we're gonna listen to Phil Spencer's words. You're gonna let him tell you himself what's going on. Um, but yeah, y'all gonna hear Phil. Y'all gonna hear Phil in a second. We just got to get to that part. For some reason, the damn video rewinded. But but all I gotta say is he lied. He lied between his teeth, and we got to figure out why he lied. That's the main part. That's the main part there. OJ and Marlon sent y'all. That's funny. I know Marlon was over there talking shiznit. I know he was. But let's listen to Phil Spencer about Indiana Jones coming to PS5.
Next, back to Xbox's perspective on how and when this approach happens to other titles.
I mean, I'll start just saying Machine Games is doing such a nice job with that game. I thought it showed really well. And that's the most important thing is quality of the games,
Yeah.
teams that are getting support that can go build the game. And it was just nice. The long gameplay segment that they had, I thought was fantastic. Going to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch, and I think at Showcase, I might have said from our learning, we're going to do more. What I see when I look is our franchises are getting stronger. our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able.
So, key things about what he said there. A couple of key things. Number one, he keeps omitting out that he blatantly said, of the games that are coming to other platforms, will it be Starfield and Indiana Jones? That was the question back in the podcast they did back in February. He literally said, it will not be Starfield or Indiana Jones. End quote. Well, 5 months later, Indiana Jones is announced for PS5. Now, the question is, why would he sit up there and just lie like that? I don't know. But it was really interesting on another tidbit he said about that audio clip you just heard. He said, we run a business. We run a business. And he said, especially on the Microsoft side of things. So that told me two things, that with the way he worded that out, for everybody to hear that. That told me two things. One thing it tells me is that when they sat down and did that Xbox Business Update podcast thing, whatever the hell you want to call it, the Kumbaya Circle, Indiana Jones was already in development for PS5. I'm not a game developer. I don't work at Monolith Soft. I don't work at Rockstar. I don't work at Panic Button. You know what I mean? I don't work at Shiver Entertainment. But I know with every fiber in my being, in my body, I know damn well it's going to take a while to port a game over from one console to the other. If you have not already simultaneously started development at the same time. So the fact of the matter is, there's no way that the port of Indiana Jones for PS5 was not already in the development when he sat there in February and told you that lie. Because there's no way in hell it's possible that it wasn't. Otherwise, the game would be coming out in spring of 2025. Porting over games is not an easy task. It takes a little bit of time. So I guess a year is really crunching it on how long it would actually take. So if we actually just give them the minimum of a year to port a game over, that will put the development process right at the time they sat there in February and he told that lie. So that game, I'm 99.99% sure that Indiana Jones was already in development for PS5 when he sat there and said Indiana Jones and Starfield are not coming to any other console. Now, the question is, why would Phil sit there and lie to you like that? Why would he lie to you, blatantly lie to you like that? Why would he lie to me like that? You know what I mean? I'm a little bit excited for it because basically that basically tells me that Indiana Jones is going to be on Switch too. So I'm happy about that. But they can't say that for obvious reasons, obviously. But why would he sit up there and just lie like that? Because there's no way that game wasn't already in development when you sat up there and told and had that whole kumbaya interview because the internet was melting down about the future of Xbox. It was definitely in development then. But then he came to another part of what he said. And he said, we run a business. And I ain't never heard Phil say that line ever as the CEO of Xbox. We run a business. I've heard him talk about Game Pass. I heard him talk about the Xbox ecosystem. I heard him talk about, selling Xbox hardware, the health of Xbox, strengthening Xbox first party lineup. I ain't never heard that man say we run a business. That man said we run a business. And the last part of that sentence, especially on the Microsoft side, we have to deliver because they give us unwavering support. Phil basically told y'all everything y'all need to know in those two sentences without directly telling you what happened. I'm going to break it down for you. With the other leadership that's going on at Microsoft and Xbox, obviously, we've been getting mixed signals and mixed messages from, I forgot the other guy's name over Microsoft that been talking about Xbox. Well, that other guy used to say stuff that was always contradicting what Phil Spencer said. And Phil Spencer was always the guy that had to come out and just basically damage control for the other head guy at Microsoft that always comes out and says some crazy shit that Phil obviously don't want the fans to be knowing or talking about. Here's my hypothesis and my theory. There's obviously been trouble internally between Microsoft and Xbox. Meaning there's obviously been some headbutting, a power struggle, and, a struggle of power when it comes to Phil Spencer and the other executives at Microsoft. Because Phil Spencer has been pushing the same narrative for so long, for so many years, especially these last 5 years, where he basically resurrected the Xbox brand from the dead because of, that guy, Peter Moore, who launched the Xbox One, and that was the biggest crater this brand has ever been in, ever. For him to pull Xbox from the ashes from Xbox One, acquire all these studios, beef up this first party lineup, beef up this first party development teams, encourage and boost the actual game development, because this is the most games Xbox has ever had in development first party in their history. And we have actually seen actual evidence of what they're working on. This is the most we ever seen out of their history. For him to be the spearhead of the acquisition deals of Activision, Bethesda, and ABK, or whatever the hell that company name is, I really feel bad for Phil Spencer. I really do. But he does not get off the hook for just lying. I really believe Microsoft had one vision for Xbox, and Phil Spencer had a different vision for Xbox. That's the only reason why we got contradictory information every year, all year long, about the direction of Xbox. And the fact of the matter is that they put Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, and Matt Booty, and they hung them out to dry. They made them do this Kumbaya podcast about the future of Xbox, which wasn't the truth because that's not what Microsoft cared about. And they basically had them lie. Now, I don't think Phil Spencer actually knew the deal of what was actually going on. I think he was under the impression that those games were not coming, or he wouldn't have said he wouldn't have said it so definitively back in February. I think he was under the understanding that those games weren't coming. And I think somebody who has a little bit more power than him made it happen. Because at the end of the day, I think Microsoft is telling them, run me my money. I put all this money into Xbox. I gave you all this money for all these billion-dollar acquisitions. I need my back end. I need my monyan. I need my coins. And that's what we're seeing here. Now we got Phil Spencer basically telling you we run a business and we have to deliver. Who do you have to deliver to, Phil? Oh, you have to deliver to Microsoft. Oh, so basically Phil is basically now trying to take the blame off himself and just throwing his bosses under the bus. And I think it's rightfully so. Because if you look at the whole picture when it comes to Xbox, they made all these acquisitions. Your console is back on the rise. You just had one of the best summer showings of an E3 quote unquote showcase that you had in years this past June. You brought Call of Duty back basically home to Xbox like it was before. You have an unprecedented first party lineup of exclusives. And you have the world's most powerful consoles and all the resources that you have with Microsoft. You was primed to take Xbox back to the glory days of the Xbox 360. But this move right here shows that they're deliberately not trying to do that. But that's not the message Phil Spencer has been preaching for so long. All of this doesn't make any sense. And the only thing that you can point to, the only thing that makes sense is that Microsoft wants to do one thing and Phil Spencer and Xbox wants to do another thing. And I don't think this power struggle is over yet. Simply because the proof is really in the pudding. When Starfield came out, the Xbox console sales increased. It was the best-selling game of any platform when it released on the month it released. Just last month, the NPD came out today. College Football 25 increased Xbox console sales over 50%. That's a multi-plat. That's not College Football 25 is not exclusive to Xbox, but it's been revealed that it increased Xbox console sales over 50%, which means to tell me that if there is a game that is only available on Xbox and PlayStation, people are going to still go out there and choose an Xbox over a PlayStation. If you don't know the NPD that just came out, PlayStation 5 came in first for the month, and Xbox Series came in number 2. For the first time, the Switch has came in third behind the Xbox and the PS5 for the month of July of 2024. All because of one game that came out. Granted, it's an important game because they didn't have a college football game in so goddamn long. But one game had that much significant impact on the Xbox hardware sales. One game that isn't even remotely exclusive to that console. So here's the funny part about that. I'm pretty sure they got that data before we got it publicly. But the fact of the matter is that you have that data and you have 2 data points that shows you that people will buy your console if the games are there, because that's a never-ending fact. That's never, not ever, not going to be a fact. If you have the games, people are going to buy it. The fact of the matter is that people still came out and bought that console just to play that college football game. That was enough data for you to just basically hold the line and just continue to move forward. But for some reason, they said, nah, we don't want to do that. They're not interested in that. Which is it's so weird to me because I don't understand Microsoft's goal. If your goal is to have more people on Game Pass, I think keeping your stuff exclusive would help that. If your goal is to get more revenue, make more money, I think keeping your stuff exclusive would help that. So I don't understand it. It's always a situation that Indiana Jones is a licensed IP. It's not something Microsoft actually owns. So it could have been a Disney decision. We never know. But considering the money that Microsoft has, I doubt Disney really kept the knife to their throat and made them do it. I think it was more of Microsoft wanted to do it and how Phil Spencer and Xbox didn't want to do it. This is why they said what they said early in February. So I've come to the conclusion that this is probably going to get a lot more uglier than people realize. This is probably going to get way more worse than people realize. And I wouldn't be shocked if Phil Spencer days are numbered. Because for him to publicly throw his people and his company under the bus like he did, like he said, we run a business and we have to deliver, especially on the Microsoft side of things. Last time I checked, I thought Microsoft and Xbox were one in a kind. They were intertwined. This is the first time I've actually seen Phil Spencer separate the two from each other. He separated Microsoft from Xbox. So that was a very telling thing. He's a very, very smart person when it comes to wordplay, but you just got to pay attention to what actually he says. That's the first time he's ever separated Microsoft from Xbox, and he did that shit deliberately. Deliberately. And he said, we have to deliver and we run a business. So basically, they're under pressure to really sell a lot of copies of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And I'm pretty much I can imagine that the budget for that game was pretty huge. Nothing astronomically stupid like Sony's been doing with their exclusive games, but it probably was pretty big and they want that back and they want that stuff back. But they probably would have did that if they just would have stayed the course. With PlayStation absolutely in a rut right now with no direction and they don't know what they want to do, Hiroki is literally just, cleaning house and trying to, implement what he wants to implement and just basically putting pawns in place in executive positions. And they don't have a roadmap. They have no exclusive lineup whatsoever fucking ever. It's kind of crazy over there what state they're in. And their console lead is not big at all. So the fact of the matter is that Microsoft really pushed this to this far. I think we still gotta give Phil Spencer some blame for this because he could have been set it straight and been transparent about what the fuck is going on from the beginning. If it's been Microsoft pushing you in a certain way that you don't want to go, you should have said that from the beginning because every time we turn around, we got to retract what the fuck you said a couple of months ago. We shouldn't have to do that all the time, Phil. That's not what we should have to do at all. But I guarantee you, Microsoft's seen that Sea of Thieves sold 1 million copies on PS5. They seen Grounded do well on PS5 and the Switch. And they said, you know what? Run me my munyon. We ain't doing this exclusive shit no more, Phil. We not waiting for your plan to work. We just had billions of dollars of acquisitions. We want the back end and we want it now. And that's basically what's going on here. I feel bad for the Xbox fanboys because y'all was set up pretty well to compete against Nintendo. Y'all was set up pretty well to compete against Nintendo for at least the next 5 to 6 years. But Microsoft has other plans for the Xbox brand. And y'all better basically give Phil his flowers right now because I think y'all need to go back to realizing what it was like with Xbox One when Xbox One launched and before Phil took over to what it is now. Granted, your game is basically granted all your games are basically going to be on multi-platform from now on, but you need to also understand the first party lineup, well, not the first party lineup, the Xbox game lineup that you have now and compare it to what you had with Xbox One. And give Phil his flowers right now. But you still, give him a couple of lashes on the way out because he could have been basically said this was the issue from the get go because we can obviously see that's what it is, Phil. We can obviously see Xbox is pulling in one direction and you pulling in the other direction. We can obviously see that, Phil. We see the FTC leaks. We see in your email leaks. We see how you talk about the Xbox brand and you talk about the health of the Xbox brand. We see how y'all rushed to get approved that another Xbox console is coming out, which now I just don't even understand why we even doing it at this point because the games are going to be everywhere. And you should have just been truthful about what it was from the beginning. Let me get a super chat real quick. Of course, it's Matthew Hammond. He got to bring it up. I'll watch a stream later. Keep up the good work. Nintendo needs to release a screenless Switch box. What are you talking about? A screenless Switch box to speed pass. We'll get into that topic. That's coming up next. Matthew, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Do you think Spencer could get in trouble with the higher ups at Microsoft for the deliberate sentence in the interview? I think whoever he's warring with, definitely they're going to have some words. If they already didn't have words already, I feel like they probably already had words already. But a lot of people, especially the Sony drones and pony fanboys, they'll look over stuff like this in the words that are deliberately said out of Phil's mouth, and they'll just go and basically try to celebrate victory, because they want to be quote unquote right about Xbox, but I think whoever he's warring with, they already had words. I really do believe that. But on the good side, we got a lot more games to look forward to that come to Switch 2. Indiana Jones in the Great Circle. Hell, might as well throw Perfect Dark over there. Like, it just makes sense. And that's where Perfect Dark was birthed at. It was birthed on a Nintendo console. So you might as well go ahead and throw Perfect Dark over there. Give us a little bit of Halo. You know what I'm saying? Throw Master Chief in the next Smash Brothers. You might as well just go all out at this point. It don't even fucking matter anymore. So we might as well just do everything that you dreamed of doing right now. The only thing that sucks about Phil, I think Phil had a great vision for Xbox, but that vision is not going to be carried out anymore. Those days are now dead, and it's always going to end in a bitter way when you have the executives of a company and the CEO of a company trying to stretch in two different directions. We see it happen with Jim Ryan. We saw it happen with Sean Layton, most importantly with Sean Layton. And now we're about to see it play out with Phil Spencer. So it's not going to end well. I don't know how long it's going to take, but um, Phil seems like a guy he's willing to like bend the knee to the higher ups and still try to keep his process in play. But this is the first time I ever saw him speak like this about Microsoft. Like I said, he separated Microsoft from Xbox. He's basically trying to tell you where the problem lies. He's basically trying to tell you why it sounded like he was lying. He's basically trying to tell you why is Indiana Jones happening after I said it was not happening. So that's the first time I see him actually say it like that. And that was very, very telling. Uh, he is he is talking about something along the lines of PS Vita that's plugged into a TV and has no screen. Oh, you talking about Matthew Hammond? Um, I, we'll get into that in a second. We'll get into the Switch 2 thing in a second. But I don't think that's I don't think Nintendo needs to do that to pass PS2. But this is basically what I got to say to Phil. Phil, look. Let me tell you this. Phil, you fought the good fight, brother. You fought the good fight. You know what I mean? You still need your ass whooped for lying all this time. You could have just basically laid it out for us like it was going to be, and said, Microsoft wanted to do one thing, you want to do another thing. We would have had sympathy for you. All this fiasco in the world ending on Xbox, we could have avoided all of this if you would have just said that from the beginning. But since we are here, Phil, I have some requests from you. Go ahead and let Nintendo make another Banjo Kazooie game. You know what I mean? We have the developers to be able to do that. Go ahead and just start that porting process of Perfect Dark to the Switch 2. There's no point in delaying that anymore. Let's go ahead and do that. And while you're at it, go ahead and queue up that port of Gears of War D-Day. E-Day. We're going to need that on Switch 2 as well. As a matter of fact, just port the whole fucking slate to Switch 2. Just port the whole slate. Does this why even cherry pick? Just port the whole damn slate over to Switch 2. Just do it, Phil. Just go to Microsoft and say, hey, I just want to go ahead and jump on board with what y'all doing, and we're gonna import everything to Switch 2. I guarantee you won't regret it because when that thing comes out, it's going to be a monster. It's going to be a selling monster. That's for sure. But it was one last thing that he said on his last statement that I want to go over because I think some people are really prematurely celebrating and need to tone it down just a little bit because I don't think nobody should really be celebrating unless they're on the Nintendo side of the fence. And I'm gonna explain that to you in a second. But let's see what he was saying here. That last little tidbit. That's the last little tidbit of what
Our
he was saying.
platform continues to grow, both on console, on PC, and on cloud. And I think it's just going to be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. And I think that us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us.
Now, that last statement was very, very telling. He's basically saying that the process of how we build and distribute games is going to change. And that's going to change for all of us. Notice he said that's going to change for all of us. Not just talking about himself and Microsoft and Xbox. He said that's going to change for all of us. I want to give y'all a little bit tidbit that people don't understand. The first people to know what's going on with the competition is the competition. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo know stuff about each other before it even hits the internet as a leak, before it even hits the internet as a rumor, before it even, is officially announced. They already know a lot of stuff that's going to go down and it's going to happen. So that wording in its own of what Phil Spencer said there was very telling. The way we build and distribute games is going to change, and it's going to change for all of us. That means inclusive of somebody else outside of Xbox. And I have to really think, who does he mean by all of us? Because Nintendo is not doing anything remotely about testing products on any other consoles at all. But there is one company that is. There is one company that didn't really put their games on anything, but now all their games are going to PC. And some of them are going to PC day and date and coming to PC very quickly. There is also another company that just decided, hey, I'm just going to stealth drop Horizon on a Switch and act like it's no big deal. There is a company that did that. But I'm going to read it between the lines of what Phil was basically telling you there. When he said that's about to change for all of us, I think he's basically giving you the signal that, hey, Microsoft is not the only company that's going to be doing this. Xbox is not the only company that's going to be doing this. So that only really leaves one company left to really follow suit of what they're doing. And that's PlayStation. And the evidence is really already there, and the writing is already on the wall. And basically, the evidence was the way Hiroki Totoki came in, took over, and said, I quote, we want to maximize profits on PlayStation and multi-platform. And that was a big war on that wording of what he said for months and months and months. And the Sony coalition was in denial for so damn long about what that meant when Hiroki said that shit. I knew what it meant. I knew that if he said it like that, he said it like that for a reason. And then all of a sudden, Horizon ends up on Switch. Out of the blue now. It just comes out of nowhere. It's like, yeah, we're going to slide this over here real quick and see how that do real quick. Let me slide this over here real quick. Ain't nobody going to pay attention. No, we saw that. We saw that. We saw how some of your exclusives are now coming to PS5 and PC day and date. We saw how you just slid Horizon over there and released it on Switch, and then gave a bullshit reason why, and then had the nerve to advocate for Aloy ugly ass to be in Smash Brothers. On top of that, they advocated for a Sony character to be in Smash Brothers. Like I said, y'all, I ain't a genius, but the writing is on the wall. We ain't never seen Sony act like this before. We ain't never seen. We ain't never seen. I'm pretty sure that is. I'm going to turn that a little bit. We ain't never seen Sony act like this before. We ain't never seen Sony advocate for anybody to be in no Smash Brothers when they made a Smash Brothers clone. We ain't never seen Sony say, hey, we're just going to secretly and stealthily drop an exclusive on another rival platform just out of the blue. I'm going to tell you right now. That move of Horizon being on Switch, it reminds me of a certain move a certain company did named Xbox. When they said, I'm going to put something over here real quick. Just as, it's a little something. Let's see how that go. And now it turned into, it's not Starfield to Indiana Jones, to Indiana Jones is coming to PS5, to the whole fucking slate. And we got to change the way we distribute games. Oh. I think Phil Spencer really let y'all in on a little secret right there. So if you as a Sony fan, all this parading y'all doing around right now, I would simmer down a little bit. I would simmer down quite a little bit because I think the writing is already on the wall what PlayStation is going to do. You're going to see PlayStation games on other platforms as well. And in the simple fact that they asked for Aloy to be in Smash Brothers, like, how far can you bend the goddamn knee? How far can you bend the knee to really crip your lips up and say, I would tell you this. Sean Layton would never say no shit like that. Would have never said anything like that. What was the dude that was in the PlayStation commercials? Michael Butler would never said no shit like that. Ever. But you know what they doing? They out there letting Microsoft drown, letting all the people hate on them, let everybody bash Xbox and Microsoft. And meanwhile, while they drowning in the pool, Sony's go ahead and tipping their toe in real slowly and just sliding that leg on that multi-platform pool. They just sliding right in there very easily, trying to go unnoticed. Nah, I see you. I see what you doing, player. You ain't fooling me. I see exactly what you doing. It's going to be a very interesting day when that plan finally gets revealed to the world. Because then what is left for the ignorant asinine fanboys that are of today? What is left? What is left for them? Not much. Not much is left. But I do want to say this. I do want to say that we kind of seen this coming with Xbox because the FTC leak did show a couple of things before. And I know y'all remember the FTC leak when everything for Xbox and their whole plan for a couple of years has been released. And this roadmap came out. And if some of y'all don't know, once again, Nintendo leads the way, Sony and Microsoft follow. That's been my line forever, and that's always been true. Microsoft also revealed a one-handed controller, which is an accessible controller with one hand, which is basically a Wii nunchuck. That's basically what it is. It's a Wii nunchuck. So we always looked at this leak in the FTC map, and we always looked at all this stuff and like, are they really going to do all this shit? And lo and behold, they have done 90% of this stuff. And the one-handed controller was just revealed today and was just announced today. Now that leaves one thing left on here that they have not done. And that's that handheld right there at the top between the consoles and the cloud device. So that's next. They have done everything on this roadmap that got leaked in the FTC leak over a year and a half ago. I think it was like a year and a half ago this happened. When their whole plan got leaked for years to come. The only thing that's left is that handheld. So you bet your ass that is coming out. That is happening. You bet everything on this damn leaked graphic has happened. And the only thing that hasn't happened is that handheld. So you better bet your ass that's coming next. That's the next thing that's going to happen. For sure. Without a shadow of a doubt. No doubt in my mind. That is going to go down. Uh, is it going to be with the next Xbox? Is it going to be, of anything else of any sorts? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it could possibly do. But I tell you this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. So basically, they one-handed controller, the adaptive controller looks like a nunchuck. PlayStation, they released the PlayStation Portal, which is nothing but a weaker Wii U gamepad. So it's kind of funny how they continue to copy Nintendo, but now they're copying Nintendo's ideas that are generations old. It's hilarious to me. Like the Portal is basically Wii U gamepad. That's literally what it is. The new one-handed accessibility controller is literally a Wii nunchuck. Literally what it is. And it's hilarious how people don't ever want to give Nintendo their credit. How people always want to say Nintendo is behind the curve. How Nintendo is not up to date. But Nintendo seems to be the one that is often imitated, but never can be duplicated. That's the whole funny part about this whole thing, man. Is I'm ready to see what this handheld is going to be like, and I guarantee you, it's going to be so much like a Nintendo device. I'm guaranteeing you that because that's all they showed us so far. That's all Microsoft has showed us so far. That's all Sony has showed us so far. That they can copy some shit very well, and that's what they like to do. So now this brings me to obviously to Switch 2. Because we got to talk about Switch 2. We got to talk about people. Well, before we get to Switch 2, let's talk about these Switch sales. Let's talk about these Switch sales. And when it pertains to the PS2. Because I don't think people realize how close this is. Because it's very close. Now, I want to bring up the page of the Nintendo Switch sales. But yeah, the Switch is like a 143 million. Was that the last count? Hold on, what was the last count? No, it just came out. It just came out. Do anybody remember the last count for the Switch? Oh man, y'all, your chat is funny. Your chat is funny. Um, I'm not trying to bash Sony. I'm just basically pointing out the obvious of what's going to go down, and I don't understand why people just don't. They don't really accept. They don't accept it for what it is. It is what it is. I mean, they're not a leader in this industry. They copy everything. They showing you that with the PS5 that they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're just basically coasting and trying to figure out what to do, which way to go. They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. That's really what bothers me so much about that company. Not only that, the state of the PS5 right now is so ridiculous. Like, there's no games for this damn thing. You have no roadmap on when shit is coming out. They canceled an ass of shit and had the nerve to save Concord of all fucking games. They should have canceled that bullshit. They definitely should have canceled that game because didn't that game come out today and nobody's playing it? Nobody's even talking about that game. Yeah, Concord of all damn things. And And we have no roadmap. We don't know what they're doing. There's no leadership going on. It's really a mess over there at PlayStation. It's a complete mess. And I don't understand why. I really don't understand why the gaming media gives them such a pass for PlayStation 5 to be this pedestrian for so long, for this extended amount of time. And the media is not making any articles about PlayStation is doomed, what is going on at PlayStation, the PlayStation drought. It's none of that. It's like we're just coddling them. We're coddling them for what? Why are we coddling them? It doesn't even make any sense to me. If Microsoft was in that same position, it would be doom and gloom articles every other day. If Nintendo was in that same position, it would be doom and gloom articles every other day. But since it's PlayStation, for some reason, we're sweeping it under the rug. We're too busy worrying about the games that Microsoft are actually producing and where they're actually landing and what platforms they're coming out on. But nobody's questioning what the hell Sony is doing with all their time and all their money after canceling a shitload of games and having no roadmap for the future. We're not talking about that. It's weird to me. I don't understand that. I don't understand it at all. So, and I look at the chat and we got another, a copium. Now Indiana Jones is part of the PlayStation roadmap. That's not a PlayStation exclusive. That's not a PlayStation franchise. A game y'all seemingly did not give a fuck about. Now all of a sudden is on the PlayStation roadmap. This is how contradicting that fan base is. Y'all didn't give a damn about that game simply because it was on Xbox. And now it's part of a roadmap. It ain't the PlayStation roadmap. It's not. But for some reason, you think people are going to give a damn about a fucking Astro Boy? A Silent Hill remake that looks rough as fuck? No, we're not going to do that. You had Helldivers literally be carried away, basically carried by the PC fan base. We're already seeing that. If it wasn't for them, that game wouldn't probably had any popularity whatsoever. Nobody gave a hell about Rise of the Ronin. That was a flop. Stellar Blade was a flash in the pan because it wasn't that good. And here we are, waiting to see what else the hell is coming out. It's like, bruh, there is no PlayStation roadmap. I don't give a damn about the multiplats is not part of your roadmap. That's not your roadmap. That's not a PlayStation roadmap. That's a multi-plat roadmap because that's basically I can play it at other places. There is no PlayStation roadmap. They announced Death Stranding 2 of all things. Why would they fund Death Stranding 2? Y'all really got to think about that. They canceled all those games, especially Factions 2 that was very far in development, and kept Concord and funded Death Stranding 2. If that don't tell you the state of idiocy that company is in, I don't know what else would. I really don't know what else would. Why would you cancel all of those games, including Factions 2, and keep Concord and Death Stranding on the books? Nobody on the PlayStation side can make that make sense to me whatsoever. Nobody can make that make sense to me. Because that is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen them do. And that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen a gaming company do. But all of a sudden, we got amnesia. We forgot about all this cancellation shit they did, all this closing of the studios and stuff, all this, Jim Bryan running out the door with a pocket of fucking money because he done drove PlayStation into the ground. Everybody wants to ignore what Sean Layton says about
PlayStation, even though he used to run the motherfucker. He ran the goddamn thing. But let's not listen to what he says. Let's continue to be on our knees for PlayStation. It's like y'all going to be the death of that brand because y'all don't hold them accountable and y'all don't keep it real when it comes to PlayStation. Y'all really don't. You don't. You hype up bullshit and you accept bullshit like the PlayStation Portal. Like, it's like, PlayStation is a bunch of malarkey right now. It's just, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You know what I mean? I would give I would give out prizes for anybody that could come up with a compelling argument of why Sony decided to fund Concord and Death Stranding 2 and cancel all those other fucking games they had in development, including Factions 2, which they promised to you gamers. I wish it was Nintendo that promised a game to somebody and they canceled it. The whole internet would be on fucking fire. Can you imagine if they canceled Metroid Prime 4 after all that time of telling us we're going to get it? The whole internet would have been on fire. Could you imagine if Microsoft decided to cancel Starfield after all those years of hyping it up about you getting it? The whole internet would be on fire. But you had a company literally give you a half-ass game by taking the multiplayer out of the game and giving you only a single-player game in Last of Us 2, promise you that it's coming, reconfirm to you that it's coming, telling you it's about to come, and then cancel it. Trees, this should have been tiki torches outside of Naughty Dog offices. But no, we do. We just coddle them. It's okay. We just sweep it under the rug. This is why that company and that brand will never, ever, ever be the market leader in the gaming industry. Because y'all don't hold them accountable. Y'all don't hold them accountable at all. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. But that's my challenge to any Sony drone out there. If you could give me a 2-page, matter of fact, if you could give me a half a page explanation of why it's great that all those other games that got canceled over at PlayStation, including Factions 2, and they decided to fund Concord and Death Stranding 2. If you could give me a great argument that makes sense, I'll have a prize for you. But like Cat Williams said, don't worry, I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. Because I'm pretty sure I won't get one. And I'm pretty sure, no, I ain't going to take that back. I think it would be somebody dumb enough to try to make that argument. I think it is really a person dumb enough to try to make that argument. But that's the stuff we're up against. That's the stuff we're up against. Stuff like that goes on around that PlayStation, and we don't hold them accountable. It's greatness awaits, and they like playing that greatness await game, and more power to you. Meanwhile, what Nintendo is doing over here on the Switch is really unprecedented. They still got bangers dropping in the 8th year of his console life. Bangers dropping in the 8th year of his console life. Mario and Luigi Brothership. Metroid Prime 4. Another Legend of Zelda game starring Zelda. Like another Pokemon mainline game. That's what they're doing is so unprecedented. Is crazy. But back to the Switch sales. Back to the Switch sales, man. Yeah, so Switch is okay, here we go. Switch is at 143 million consoles sold as of June 30th, 2024. So not too far away. So yeah, we had 130 million consoles sold as of June 30th of 2024. Now here's the thing we got to talk about when it comes to the Switch and the PS2. PS2 is at 155 million. Switch is at 143 million. Now, over the last month or two, maybe 3 months, there has been people trying to change the number of how many sales the PS2 had, but the fact of the matter is, Sony never updated the numbers. There was a obscure number just thrown out by Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan that left Sony. I don't even know why he said that, but I guess it was just to have one little last jab at Nintendo before he went out the door. But the official counting record is 155 million. That's the official record. Not that ridiculous 160 that he just pulled out his ass for no reason. I mean, you're not going to tell me that you sold 5 million PS2s within the last 5, even 10 years. You didn't. You didn't, because it was never on your financial reports at any point ever. And you're just going to magically say that shit. It's hilarious that people believe, people will believe anything they want to believe. But on their financials, it doesn't show PS2 at 160. So the official number is 155. So we have a Switch at 143 right now. Obviously, it's more than 143 as of right now because it's August, but 143 is the number we're gonna go with. That's what we're gonna go with. 143 and 155. So we basically got 10 to 12 million to go, and it's August, and the release schedule for the Switch is insane. And we're going into another holiday season. Keep in mind, in the last quarter, as reported by Nintendo themselves and as reported by Sony themselves, the Switch sold more last quarter than the PS5 sold last quarter. The quarter ending on June 30th, 2024. I'm going to repeat that for y'all again. Switch sold more consoles last quarter than the PS5. I don't think y'all hear me. I'm going to repeat that one more time. The Switch on its 8th year sold more consoles than the PS5 last quarter. I don't think y'all understand how insane that is for the 8th year of a console. But we have 10 to 12 million to go. And just next month in September, you have The Legend of Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom. Then after that, you have another Mario Party game, which the last Mario Party game I think sold nearly 15. I think it's almost at 20 million now. So you have Zelda, then you have Mario Party, then you have the Mario Luigi Brothership, and then you're going into the holiday season. So for the rest of this 2024, I can see easily a 5 million of Switches being gone by the end of December, by December 30th, 2024 from now. 5 to 7. So let's just say we get to 149 million as of June 1st of 2025. Now we go into 2025 at 149 million. And then we have Pokemon Legends ZA. And then we have Metroid Prime 4. And then we also have the Donkey Kong Country remaster, remake, or wherever the hell they want to call it. How many consoles do you think they're going to ship when those games come? I can tell you right now, Pokemon is going to move a lot of consoles. That's what they do. It's going to happen. Is what it is. Metroid Prime 4 is one of the most anticipated games. We ain't had one since 2007. So you got to factor that in. So I'm going to say they're probably going to move maybe, and I'm gonna do it on a light side. I'm gonna say they're gonna move 3 million more Switches in the quarter one. In quarter one of 2025. I don't expect both games to come out in quarter one. I expect one or the other, either Metroid Prime 4 or Pokemon. If both come out, good. Good. That's going to be a good thing. That's another 3 million. So we're sitting at 152 million by March of 2025. Now, by that time, the Switch 2 will be announced because that's what the Nintendo president said. We will announce it this fiscal year, which means the fiscal year ends in March 2025. So it has to be announced by then. But by that time, the Switch is already there. The Switch is already there, about to overtake the record of best-selling console of all time. It isn't like the Switch is going to magically stop selling once the Switch 2 is announced. Games are still going to be coming out for it. So, and I'm pretty sure they're going to extend the life of it all the way into Christmas of 2025 next year. So this is good as done. It's as good as done, my people. Anybody that's still holding on to the denial of the PS2 being dethroned is just basically a crazed fanboy, or they are somebody that just they're not good with numbers and math. The software is there, the roadmap is there, the lineup is there, and I even forgot they releasing a special edition Switch with the Legend of Zelda game in September next month. I forgot about that, so that's also going to be a factor. The software is there, the lineup is there, so it's pretty much a done deal, man. It's pretty much done. And Nintendo's going to make sure they're going to get that record. I'm pretty sure that's going to be something they'll proudly tote and post in that new Nintendo museum they're just going to open up in a few weeks. So, and they're doing this without a price cut also, by the way. Without a price cut. They're doing this without a damn price cut. Y'all think about that for a second. How are they doing that without a price cut? That's insane. That's insane. I think the official they also broke another record here. I think the Switch has 70 million seller exclusives on the console. 70. I think it's also been said that Nintendo Switch Online has 120 million active users. Somewhere around there. It was a ridiculous number. 120 million active users out of 143 consoles sold. That's insane. That means people are buying this console and they're playing this console. Mario Kart is nearing 70 million sold. That's insane. That's some insane thing to actually think about. That's actually going down and it's actually happening. But we're here. That's what's happening. So when it comes to the PS2 and the Switch is set to surpass it. I mean, the Switch did it without a DVD player. The Switch did it without a price cut, a ridiculous price cut at that, because PS2 was selling at a ridiculous low price. The same as when the GameCube was selling as a ridiculous low price. And it's doing it by continuing to release quality software. So as long as the software is there, the record is going to be broken, and the software is there. So I can understand if we didn't have the Pokemon ZA game and we didn't have Metroid Prime 4 and everything that was going to come out for Switch would end at this year, but it's not going to end. It's not going to end. It's still stuff coming out. It's still stuff being released. So the record is done. It's going to be a glorious day. We are going to have a stream celebration when that happens. The Switch will officially outsell the PS2 in America. In America only, I think in the next month or so. I think it was only behind by 1 1.1 million units. So that's probably going to happen in the next month or so. We're going to celebrate that, and then we're going to celebrate the total record of beating that 155 million. We're going to have a celebration stream for when that goes on. Absolutely, we're going to have a celebration stream for that. No doubt about that. We're definitely going to do that. And it's going to be a special occasion because this is unprecedented to have a console do this without a price drop. That's if they don't drop the price, and I don't see them dropping the price. They don't went this long with the price being this high. I don't see no point in them dropping the price. They might as well just ride it on through. And y'all need to understand that Nintendo is definitely going to ride this shit through until this thing breaks that record. They're not going to stop support on this thing until it breaks that record. So that record for PS2 that's been held for so long, for decades now, it's about to come to an end. And I know a lot of people don't want to see that happen, especially the Sony fanboys, but because that's usually their bread and butter that they get to go to, and it's not going to be there anymore for them to use as a crutch in an argument, and it's going to be gone. So it's kind of crazy to think that record is going to be broken, especially when the PS2 got to that thing basically because of a feature that had nothing to do with gaming, if I could put it like that. But I also want to talk about oh my god, I want to talk about this Nintendo Museum real quick for a little bit before we get into Q&A. We round this thing on out with the Switch 2. Damn, what was it? Damn, what was it? Oh, I want to talk about the Nintendo Museum. Now, the Nintendo Museum has some interesting stuff in it. But here's my gripe with the Nintendo Museum. Why the hell is they only having the Nintendo Museum in Tokyo? That's the part I'm not understanding at all. Cause it's so much cool shit they're doing in this Nintendo Museum, and I actually want to pull that up and show it for a lot of people that didn't get to see it on anything. You know what I mean? This Nintendo Museum was fire, bro. This museum was fire. I'm not even gonna lie. We learned so much about Nintendo and their history that we did not know before. We knew so much about what they did in the past, but there was a lot of stuff that happened that we did not know. Like, I did not know they made baby strollers. I did not know Nintendo, created the Blinky, the Blicky. Like, where is it at, man? Hold on, I gotta pull this up because when I seen the Blicky in there, I was like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. You trying to tell me Nintendo had the rifle? They had the rifle. I'm like, oh, y'all a copy machine, the rifle. What possessed Nintendo to make a baby stroller? I don't know. But when I seen that gun, I said, oh yeah, I gotta visit this place. I had to visit this place. They got the Blick up in there. I had to visit. I got to visit this place because it's it's very interesting. But I like the idea of the Nintendo Museum. I think it's kind of funny that people are always talking about who's the market leader in the gaming, who's actually on top, who's the number one on a console, who's the number one gaming company, yada yada yada, and all this stuff. But I got to tell you like this: when it comes to gaming, who's actually the head honcho in gaming, who's actually sitting on the throne, who's actually sitting up top above the rest? I just got to break it down to you like this: one company literally took their money and funded building a museum to put their accomplishments and milestones on display for the world to come see. while the other two companies are busy worrying about what platforms they're going to release their games on. I'm going to say that again for you. One company literally spent their money building a state-of-the-art museum for people to visit and to bask into their accomplishments, records, and milestones. And the other two companies are trying to figure out where they're going to release their games for the future. There's levels to this, people. There's levels to this. There's so many levels to this. It's not, Nintendo is in a whole league of its own. So when I hear people talking about competition and they're not competing, it's like, half of that is true. They're not really competing because they already beat the competition. When a competition can create their own museum, then we can talk. When a competition can have 70 plus 1 million seller exclusive games on one platform, then we could talk about who runs the industry. Matter of fact, if they can sell 71 million seller exclusive games combined on their platforms, then we can talk. Then we can have this conversation. When you can have a game that sells 20 million, 40 million, 60 million, 70 million, when you can have, I think now it's probably over 10 games that sold, I think it's well over 10 to 15 games that sold 15 million or more on one console. When your company can do that, then we can talk about who's actually the market leader in the industry. When you can create a museum to boost up your own accomplishments, then we can have a conversation about who's the market leader in the industry. When you have developer after developer, studio after studio, basically try to copy and mimic your development style in your games, then we can talk about who's the market leader in this industry. So when those situations arise and the other two competitors can actually do stuff like that, then we can have that conversation about who's actually competing with who. Then we can have that conversation about who's actually the market leader in gaming. It's just pretty clear as day. Nobody's running around trying to, create a game that feels like Starfield, or create a game that feels like Crackdown, or create a game that feels like Gears of War. Nobody's running around trying to create a game that feels like God of War. Nobody's trying to create a game that feels like or plays like Last of Us. But there's plenty of developers out there trying to make games that play like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that play like Mario Kart, that play like Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, that play like Metroid Prime, and the old school 2D Metroids. There's plenty of people and plenty of developers trying to do that. But hey, what do I know? I just speak facts. I can't live in the delusional bubble that everybody else is over there. So, and shout out to the chat. Yeah, building museums and amusement parks. I forgot about the amusement park. When those other two competitors can build an amusement park off of their brand, then we could talk about who the market leader is. Then we could come holler at me. Until then, y'all got to stay in y'all place, man. Y'all got to stay in y'all place. I do not understand what happened in these people's lives, because I see it all the time. I see it on social media all the time, and I see it in videos all the time. I don't know what happened in these people's lives that Nintendo hurt them so bad. I don't know why the success of Nintendo hurts people so bad. I don't know why the dominance of Nintendo hurts people so bad. And I've been really trying to figure that out for so many years. And I think this year I finally figured it out. I think this year I finally figured it out. And you know what I call it? I dubbed it the Patrick Mahomes effect. That's what I dubbed it, which used to be the Tom Brady effect. It's that something is just so goddamn good and so goddamn consistent that you just tired of seeing the shit. You can't stand to see that shit prosper over and over and over again. That's what it is. You can't stand to see how unstoppable and how dominant this company is. It bothers y'all to y'all soul to see how dominant and unstoppable this company is. But I think y'all have the anger at the wrong person. You shouldn't be angry at Nintendo. Like Miyamoto said in his museum direct, this company has been around for over 100 years. You trying to tell me in 100 years, not one person in the gaming industry, not one company in the gaming industry has been able to match their quality or supersede them in 100 years? You're mad at the wrong company. You taking out your frustrations on the wrong company. You should be mad that The Legend of Zelda is the pinnacle of gaming now as it's been in the early 90s. Why has this game has been so dominant for so long? Because nobody has been able to top it. Nobody has been able to surpass it. You shouldn't get mad at them. Get mad at the companies you champion. They just need to do better. They need to just do better. That's it. But I think I figured it out that y'all realize they're not going to do better. Nobody's ever going to match Nintendo. It is just, they're a well-oiled machine that is set up to last for decades and decades and decades. And I think people understand that they're never going to stop. So now they have come to it a coping mechanism, whereas we're just going to ignore what Nintendo is doing. We're going to act like they're not there. We're just going to act like it's Nintendo and we just don't count it. Because they don't have any faith of Nintendo ever being beat. And I understand that. I get it. I wouldn't have no faith either if I was on the opposite side of Nintendo. I wouldn't have no faith either. How the fuck can you compete with the development team that is over the core Mario games? How can you compete the development team that's over Zelda? How can you compete with the development team that's over Xenoblade Chronicles? That's over Pokemon. Well, y'all can compete with the Pokemon developers right now because they in some shit. They're in some deep shit. But you know, how can you compete with the developers over at Metroid Prime? That's over the Metroid series. How you compete with developers that's over Fire Emblem? It's a difficult thing to overcome. And then we add in stuff like Bayonetta and Astral Chain, and it's like, and then Kirby is starting to, really even itself out and becoming a high quality franchise. Now Pikmin is a high quality franchise. Now we got Splatoon that came out of nowhere and now is a pinnacle of a franchise. Mario Kart has absolutely skyrocketed to the fucking moon and Mars and beyond. It's like it's a lot to try to overcome. I get y'all hate. And I think the biggest thing that a lot of people are afraid of when it comes to Nintendo and not giving them their flowers and not giving them their credit is that Nintendo is in a situation where they can really dominate on a level of really squashing out the competition. And I think people are really fearful of what the Switch 2 can be because if we're being absolutely really honest with ourselves, if everything we heard about the Switch 2 and the rumors about it are true, and this thing is a powerful beast, a powerful hybrid beast that's on the level of just the Xbox Series S. It don't even have to be more than that. And it has all the technology that we talked about with NVIDIA and DLSS and all of that stuff. if all that is true about the rumors of Final Fantasy VII running on it flawlessly, about all the third party developers have their games ready to go on day one, you're going to see a lot of multi-plats right out the gate that's on PS5 and Xbox. If all that is true that we are hearing, what is the point of even buying a PlayStation and an Xbox? If Nintendo secures at least 80% of third party support and every major thing that is worth anything comes to this console and it is available for it, what is the point of even buying a PlayStation and an Xbox anymore? What's the point? It ain't gonna be able to play third party games if they got all of them. It definitely ain't gonna be able to play exclusives because they both finna put their exclusives on every goddamn platform now. So what is the point of even buying the PlayStation and Xbox anymore? There really ain't gonna be a point. There really ain't gonna be a reason to even buy a PlayStation and Xbox anymore. And as much as I would like to see that happen, I am a realist and I kind of don't want to see that happen. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to see the third party support on Switch 2. I want the Switch to have every goddamn game that comes out. I want it to be this unstoppable beast. But in the state that is Xbox and PlayStation is now, I'm kind of scared to see that happen. Because I don't want Nintendo to actually turn into a video gaming monopoly that can actually go unchecked and with no competition whatsoever. Because that's exactly what it would be if that was the case in the state that PlayStation and Xbox is in now. That's exactly what would end up turning to be. This is why with the Xbox situation and Phil Spencer, I'm not happy about it because we need competition. The gaming space thrives when there is a big three. When there's not a big three, it gets a little bit stagnant. It gets a little bit wishy-washy. But Nintendo seems to always stay the course regardless of how many people is competing with them, whether it's 2, whether there's 3, or whether it's 4. So it's they are consistent, but the fact of the matter is competition breeds excellence. You got to have that. So yeah, I would like to see Nintendo dominate, but I would like to see them dominate competition that's actually competing rather than competition that just absolutely is flustered and in a mess. If that makes any sense. Um, so I'm gonna tell you right now in the chat, Call of Duty is already gonna be on Switch. We already know that because Microsoft already said it. Madden, I can't imagine EA kicking themselves in the ass anymore when it comes to Madden. I can't imagine seeing it anymore. Um, they held back and for a little bit, and they finally put a football club on there, formerly FIFA, and I think I think that's the second best selling. I'm not mistaken. It's either the best selling or the second best selling version of that game. So it's like I don't think EA is gonna kick themselves in the ass anymore when it comes to Switch. It's not worth it for them anymore. It's not. Um, so I don't know I don't know what's going to happen with that, but that's what I got to say about when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo as a whole for the future. Um, I'm ready for Switch 2 because I'm ready to see what Nintendo's been cooking up. I'm ready to see this next Mario. I'm ready to see this next Mario Kart. I'm ready to see what new ideas they have. I think we got to understand this console going to have a new feature to it that we just don't know yet. We just don't know what it could be. But we're gonna. I'm ready to see this now. I'm ready. I'm gonna ride out, with my Switch and my Xbox Series X until the Switch 2 comes out. I don't see any point in getting the PS5. Um, definitely don't see no point in getting a PS5 Pro if that thing is actually real and coming out. That's just insane and asinine. Um, but but yeah, I'm gonna ride out with these two systems right now, and until the Switch 2 comes out, and then at that point in time, I can make that determination whether I need to be a multi-console gamer anymore at all. Um, because I don't see Microsoft not releasing their games on everything now, so that looks like that's going to be a thing. And I have not seen nothing from Sony that makes me want to buy a PlayStation 5. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So and also the tidbit about the Switch 2, one more tidbit about the Switch 2. There's a rumor that came out, and I talked about this very early on when the Switch 2 was first being talked about. I talked about this very early on, but this is a leak, a rumor that came out that kind of supports what I've been saying about the Switch 2 being at minimum an Xbox Series S in the terms of power. Obviously, with common sense, people would understand that the technology that is all but confirmed from NVIDIA to being in the Switch 2, which is DLSS, you got to have a certain type of modern graphic architecture to do that. So you're not going to do DLSS on a PS4 or a PS4 Pro. I, I just really don't understand why some people are just not some people that know better are not telling people this deliberately, but you're not going to get that functionality on a PS4 or a PS4 Pro. So we can go ahead and cancel out this PS4 Pro power rumor that just keeps resurfacing for some fucking reason. It doesn't make any sense. You're not going to get that functionality of DLSS on a PS4. It is on a PS4 Pro. It's not going to happen. And plus, it's two completely different graphics architectures, which means that the Switch is going to have basically games that look like PS5 and Xbox Series games. It's just that simple. It's nothing. There's nothing else to debate there. But the rumor that did come out is said that the dock of the Switch 2 is supposed to have a fan inside of it. Now, I brought this up a while ago about the dock of the Switch actually having more functionality than the current dock has. And a lot of people's, some of the tech gurus timed in and said, it can't do this, it can't do that, it can't do this, it can't do that. You would need to do this, you need to do that. But now we are being told there's a fan in the dock. And the only reason the fan would be in the dock is that there's something in the dock that needs to be cooled down. Now, y'all can go ahead and speculate what that possibly could be. Some people talking about an additional GPU, which some of the tech gurus wanted to, debunk, or an extra CPU. My initial idea that I always kept with, I always brought up the expansion pack from the N64 days, where basically you just got more RAM into the 64 when you plug in the expansion pack. So I've always had the idea that the dock would do more, and I just feel like I think with the rumor also being that the Switch 2 is supposed to have somewhere between 8 to 16 gigs of RAM in it, I wouldn't be shocked if the dock actually has RAM in it. That wouldn't shock me. That's not something that would take some type of widgetry when it comes to actually trying to put a CPU or a damn GPU in there, in the dock. But with the dock supposedly having a fan, if we just go ahead and take that as confirmation, that should already tell you that you're working with a fucking monster. You're working with a monster, man. Like, it's like this thing is going to be a monster. The only reason an internal fan would be on the dock is because you need to cool something down. And for order to cool something down, it has to be something that generates some heat. So it's just that simple. So it's like I wouldn't be shocked if And if it's something like you know, the RAM is split down the middle, there's 8 in the console, 8 in the dock. So when you dock games, you have 16 gigs of RAM available to you on your TV. In handheld mode, you got 8, something like that. So it's like it's very interesting. I think the dock is going to have way more functionality than it had last time around. It just only makes sense. It's the only next logical step for a feature set of a hybrid console. They're just not going to sell you the same console as a next generation console. It's going to be some type of new feature doing something. So the fact that it's a fan reportedly, allegedly in the dock is kind of going to let you know right there that we're working with a monster. And the thing is, people want to point to Nintendo's history, and it's hilarious because more often than not, Nintendo had a powerful console when it came to generations. It was only when they got to the Wii that they tried to change it up a little bit. They wanted to change it up just a little bit and go a little bit more on the innovation side. Outside of that, they always had pretty powerful hardware. There was really nothing wrong with the power of the hardware. And that really only changed around when the Wii came out. So it's people like have amnesia of their history, and one of the main things why I think this is like a foregone conclusion that this thing is going to be pushing the Series X all the way up to the PS5 potentially, is that we got new leadership, people. Like there's a new Nintendo president that's in charge. We don't really have an idea of what he wants to do to Nintendo to take it into the future. I think the core values of Nintendo are going to stay the same. Obviously, build your franchises out, always release quality games. Um, you know, always trying, to make sure you give the fans what they want. Keep the standard of your franchises. I'm pretty sure he has those core qualities, although he wouldn't have never made it to that position. But he might have an absolute different future about what the hardware should be and what the hardware should do for Nintendo moving forward. I don't think people actually take that into consideration. And the fact of the matter is that this man is smart enough to take his time. He has taken his time to bring out the successor to the Nintendo Switch. He's not rushing it. So he understands he wants to get it perfectly. This is his legacy. This is his first crack at really his stamp on what he did as the Nintendo president for the next console. Because you got to understand, this Switch was kind of the concept of Iwata anyway. So they just basically went on with his plan. So after the late passing of him. But this time around, it's all on him. This is his Nintendo now. So it's I don't think people realize that. So maybe he's not with the bare minimum power processing approach. Maybe he's not with it. And all the rumors that we have heard, it doesn't seem like he's with that route. And I can understand that being your first time around of launching the system as the president of Nintendo, that's a lot of expectations that you have on your shoulders. You have a great legacy that preceded you, that you have to be the successor of. So you have to nail this shit out of the park, out of the gate, or you are going to be labeled as the person who created the downfall of Nintendo. So I like that he has stretched the Switch out all the way as far possibly as he can, because I think he understands that he has to get this correct out the gate immediately. It has to be on point. And I think he's going to do that. I think this is probably going to be the most well equipped. It's going to be probably one of the most powerful consoles Nintendo have released in generations. And it's probably going to be the one of the consoles that's probably going to have the most game support of a launch of a console ever. Because we have heard so much about how such and such is coming, such and such is coming, such and such is coming, such and such is coming. And the fact of the matter is that we had people, in NVIDIA saying that, they kind of almost finished the Switch 2 almost a year and a half ago. So the only thing they possibly got to be doing is readying up games and being ready to go, and possibly increasing the specs along the way. Otherwise, I think this thing would have been out a while ago. You know what I mean? So yeah, y'all got to understand this a new man in charge. If y'all forgot, there is a new man in charge at Nintendo, and this is going to be his first console launch. Is officially his first console launch of where it's his vision of where he wants to take Nintendo. So I think that's a very very big thing. So I don't think he takes that lightly, and I think you're going to see something that is going to pleasantly surprise a lot of Nintendo fans, and you're going to see something that's going to probably not sit well with a lot of Xbox and PlayStation fanboys because they're not going to like what they see. So that's the I think you got to understand that. That's why I'm not too worried about. I wanted it to come out this year, but I'm okay with it because I understood that this man, he has to get it right. There's nothing worse than having probably the best selling well, there's nothing worse than having the best selling console or console of all time, and then coming out with a flop right after that. That's like career suicide. That's like career suicide, man. So this man is obviously trying to make this as perfect as it can be, as readily available as it can be, where no shortages and you don't have to wait. There was also a rumor that came out this week about the Switch 2 has entered mass production. And that's good if that's true. That's good if they already mass producing it right now, and it's not even coming out this. It's not even coming out this holiday. It's not even coming out in January. It's not even coming out in the first quarter. It's coming out after the first quarter. So the fact that they're already trying to massively put the mass production on it right now tells you everything about how this man is trying to be very prepared for the successor of the Nintendo Switch, which I really hope is called Super Nintendo Switch. I think that's the only name that it needs to be. That's the perfect name that it needs to be. I don't think it should be called anything else. I think that is absolutely perfect. So, yeah, I remember like the chat was saying. I remember the DK rumors. There's going to be a new DK. We're due for a new Donkey Kong game. We always see this pattern of something gets remastered and then the new game comes out. Metroid Prime remastered, Metroid Prime 4, Pinkman remastered, Pinkman 4. It's like, you know what I mean? Now Donkey Kong Country gets remastered again. I'm pretty sure we get another Donkey Kong game. So it's like, I hope it's 3D Donkey Kong and not Donkey Kong Country. I'm kind of tired of Donkey Kong Country now. Can we just go ahead and get Donkey Kong in 3D? I would like that. I definitely want that. But yeah, it's I think people are not taking that X factor in about Nintendo is under new leadership. This is a new president that they haven't had before. So he obviously wants the Switch to be successful, and he wants the Switch to do as well as possible. And if he wants the Switch to be successful, the successor Switch 2 to be successful as the Nintendo Switch or better, it only points that the system has to be on par with the PS5. And I think people need to understand that it's not going to take much for the Switch 2 to be on par with the PS5. The PS5 technology ain't new no more. Didn't these systems come out in 2020? Like, it's like, bruh, it's about to be 2025. So it's like, and then we had the rumor about the Switch being $500, which I think is insane. That would definitely be a gamble on his part from the Nintendo president to actually put a price tag that high on a Nintendo console. But I think that would be the first ever that a Nintendo console was that high. I'm not sure. I don't think the NES or the SNES really debuted at that high of a price before. But that's a rumor that would shock me. But that would be a bold move. But if anybody can move a console at $500, it would be Nintendo. I don't think I see anybody shine away by buying a Nintendo console because it's $500. Y'all literally spending rent on fucking iPhones and other fucking cellular devices. So it's like $500 is obviously not going to kill y'all because y'all buy the new fucking iPhone every goddamn year, even though it's the most inferior phone on the fucking market. And y'all paying $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for these damn things, and they're not even worth that. So, but I don't think $500 would be a big ass. I would definitely buy it. But I know we're not accustomed to that, so that would be a big change. But I would definitely buy it because I'm not gonna get these quality games from anywhere else. I'm not going to get my Nintendo quality games from anywhere else. I'm not going to get these franchises from anywhere else. And I know that my system is going to work out the gate. That's number one. I know it's going to be durable. That's number two. And I'm not gonna get this anywhere else. So I'm not gonna buy. I think it's really weird that people say that $500 is too much, but you got the iPhone 14 Plus right now in your pocket. The phone that literally does the same shit that did the iPhone 13. The phone that literally is inferior to a Samsung Galaxy. It's like, but you'll pay $1,100 for that shit, but you won't pay $500 for. It's I don't think it's a big ask, but obviously with the economy and the way it is and inflation and stuff, I guess people don't want to hold on to their money. But the priorities are just weird to me. I can't. I don't understand how people can pay over $1,000 for a cell phone. I've never paid that much for a cell phone. Ever. Ever. But people do it. It's weird for me. It's weird for me. But if the thing is $500, I'm pretty sure they will make it worth its while to be $500. Whether that it comes with two controllers, I don't think we've seen a console do that yet at all, if I'm not mistaken. Whether a console comes with, four, well, I ain't gonna say two controllers, four Joy Cons or a Joy-Con and a classic Joy-Con controllers and a classic controller, or it comes with a free game like Wii Sports or some shit like that, something along those lines. Not actual Wii Sports, but something like Wii Sports, or you get a year free of Nintendo Switch Online and all that other stuff. If it's there, I'm pretty sure the value of $500 would be there. Um, that's for sure. If it's there. Knowing me, I penny pinch. I always said it would be $400. If it's above that, I'll bite the bullet and I'll get it because I'm not going to miss out. I'm not gonna miss out. I'm not doing that. All my favorite franchises on Nintendo. I'm not missing out. But I wouldn't be mad if it's $400. I would welcome that. But people that think it's like $400 or $500 is too much. That like nah. I don't think it's going to be too much to ask. Because I think they'll actually have a value of $500 in the Switch 2. So it's and plus y'all playing car notes and fucking rent prices for phones. Like what is going to kill you about buying a device at $500 that you consistently are going to play, and that you consistently are going to buy games for? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think people need to understand. I think people need to understand that. Yeah. I'm a Galaxy guy. I'm not with that iPhone inferior bullshit. Shout out to the Google Pixel family as well. Y'all doing good as well. LG fam, I see you. Y'all phones are alright. You know what I'm saying? Y'all alright. Y'all doing alright. If you're out of those three brands, fuck you. If you're out of those three bands, the hell with you. I ain't got nothing to say to you. Just I'll just let you cope. But it's I think the Switch 2 is going to be something that people are going to be pleasantly surprised about. I'm ready for it. Um, I think I think a lot of the gripes that we had before will be fixed. I think we're finally going to have regular freaking voice chat, native. to the entire console. Customization options, I think we'll have there. We've seen Nintendo's president talk about the smooth transition of Nintendo Online to the Nintendo Switch successor. He has stressed that numerous of times in interviews. So our online experience from day one is going to be probably the best it's ever been for any Nintendo platform ever. Because he's been harping on that for a long, long time, a very long time. Like I said, all the evidence is pointing that this system is going to be the power equivalent of a Series S at bare minimum. At the bare minimum. If anybody's telling you under than a Series S, they're just lying to you. And with the technology of DLSS, which is all of but confirmed for the Switch 2, it's going to make the Switch even outperform the Series S. So it's just to get to the Switch to that point will be enough for Nintendo to last 10 years off of that device. So it's like it's I don't think people need to have any concerns when it comes to Switch 2. I think the excitement is warranted, and excitement through the roof is definitely there. So with that being said, we now gonna come here, and I'm gonna take a couple of questions. You know what I mean? Y'all can hit the super chat, whatnot. Throw your questions in the chat. Q&A about anything we talked about before I get up out of here, because I've been on here 2 damn hours, but I think I owed y'all 2 hours because I ain't had the stream in so damn long. Minus the issues early on in the stream, bro. That was just wild. I don't know what the hell that was earlier. That was some wild stuff, boy. Phil Spencer is a damn liar. Microsoft and Phil Spencer are at war. Switch 2 is going to be a banger. The Nintendo Museum is dope. I hope they release. I ain't gonna say release. I hope they make and build one here in America. I think it only makes sense. And please do not put it in fucking New York. Jesus. I always want to put it in some weird ass spot. Like, don't put it in New York. New York got enough shit. Put it somewhere else if y'all gonna build a Nintendo Museum. You know what I mean? Pick another city. You know what I mean? Pick Atlanta or Dallas or Chicago. Something like it's like all this Seattle garbage and California garbage and New York is like everybody don't live there. Newsflash to whoever works at Nintendo in America: we all don't live in those places. Y'all need to look up the census or some shit. Look up the top 6 metropolitan areas or the top 7 metropolitan areas in America. Like, we all are not in damn California. Every time y'all do something, y'all got like 14 stops in California. We don't all live there. Please stop putting everything in goddamn California. And stop putting everything in New York. We're everywhere. One of the biggest Smash communities I ever seen in person is here in Atlanta, where I live at. I've seen them. I see them when they go to Dragon Con. I see them when they go to DreamHack Atlanta. I see this. It's like, put it anywhere. Put it in Florida. I would even be happy with that, even though people don't like to go to Florida because Florida's crazy as hell. But anywhere, just stop doing California, Washington, and New York. We tired of that. Do something else, dog. We tired of that. Ain't nobody trying to go to no damn Seattle. Ain't nobody trying to go to no expensive ass California. Ain't nobody trying to go to no rugged ass New York. Put it somewhere else. God damn, dude. Next time I do an event, do it somewhere else. Like we did. Don't do Seattle. Don't do California at all. Do not do New York at all. Do it somewhere else, damn it. We tired of that. It's annoying. It's annoying. Just do it somewhere else. For the love of God. Like, who's the Nintendo? Doug Bowser. Please. I'm begging you. No more Seattle, no more California, no more New York. There's other people. There's millions of us in the other parts of the United States that will support y'all. Y'all just have to show the fuck up. That's it. I mean, the last time y'all did that was the Wii U experience, and it did come here to Atlanta because I actually went to it. Y'all actually had a nice roadmap when you did the Wii U experience, even though the Wii U did not turn out to what it should have been. It was a catastrophic failure. But yeah, whoever was over that chore campaign of the Wii U experience, put them in charge of any event y'all do anymore. Because they understand where Nintendo fans are at geographically in America. Because whoever else been doing that shit, we ain't in California. We ain't in Seattle, and we all not in goddamn New York. Okay, this, please. I'm just begging you, please. Please, just stop with those three places. Like, I'm tired of it. Like, it's just that every time y'all do something, it's in those three areas. It's like we all don't live there. We all don't live there. That's just my thing. So any questions, throw them in the chat real quick so I can answer these questions before I get on up out of here. You know, any questions about Switch 2, any questions about Phil Spencer lying ass, any questions about Xbox, any questions about, you know, the race of Nintendo Switch surpassing the PS2. Any questions about anything? You know, NFL season is coming up. You know what I mean? It's about to kick off. Preseason about to be over. We about to start the real shebang in a little bit. Oh man, that's crazy. We about to start the whole shebang in a little bit. You know what I mean? If you got questions about the PS5, I mean, I feel sorry if you live in Oregon, man. You should live in Oregon, because it ain't a damn thing there. Like, why are you in Oregon? Like, it's just certain places in America where after you become an adult, you need to get the fuck on. If you live in Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Utah, Idaho, Oregon, like, what are you staying there for? Move. Move, my guy. Like, what are we there for? There's nothing there for you. Like, move. Like, why are we there? What are your thoughts on Mario and Sonic games being dropped by the Olympics? I'm glad they're being dropped. Those games were fucking terrible. They were horrible. Like, why would we want to continue Mario and Sonic Olympic games? Those are by far the worst Mario games ever made. I'm glad. I'm pretty sure Nintendo had something to do with it too. Like, yeah, we could drop that. There's no point. It was just trash. Like, I mean, next question. Like, we already know. Like, come on, bro. GameCube for Super Nintendo Switch Online. I probably so. But they seem to be in this kick of remaking and remastering stuff, which I really hope they slow down in doing, because I'd rather see full remakes than remasters. But that's where the market is going for some damn reason. But even though Nintendo kind of really does theirs different, because a lot of this stuff is really remakes. Like Metroid Prime Remastered is a damn remake. The Paper Mario that came out was really a remake. The remaster of Luigi Mansion 2, that was on the borderline of a remaster remake. So everything they do is almost like it's really a remake anyway. But I think they need to slow down on those. But it does keep the pipeline of games coming out. But I do think they need to slow down a little bit on them, and obviously the rest of the industry need to slow the hell down on them. It's just it's too many. It's too much. It's too many coming out. It's like it's too many coming out. How soon will God of War Collection be on Super Switch? Uh, it's gonna take Sony a little bit longer to bend the knee. The fact of the matter is that they sent Horizon out there as the sacrificial lamb. The first thing they sent out of his sacrificial lamb is hilarious, but I think it's going to take a little bit of a while to get to that. I just say that based off the track record of Sony, but like I said with Nintendo, Nintendo has new leadership. Sony has new leadership in Hiroki Tanoki. So it's like he obviously is doing things way different than anybody's ever done in PlayStation. So it's really up to him. What about Switch 2 screen size? I don't care. As long as it's big enough. I wouldn't care if the screen size is the same size of the Switch now. I don't want the Switch to become so big that it's not even really portable anymore. So I'm not really too crazy about the screen size getting too much bigger because obviously the bigger the size, the more power it has to drain, the less battery life you have, and obviously, so on and so forth. So I'm good. I'm not one of those tech, tech zombies that it got to be OLED. It can't be LCD. I don't give a damn. As long as the screen is good enough and it has the resolution that's good enough, I'm good. It doesn't have to be an OLED screen. LCD. I don't care. I think what matters is the processing power of the thing and the games of the thing. All the other stuff is just nuanced things that people like to cry about. That's how I feel about that. Who gets a movie first, Star Fox or Metroid? It's definitely gonna be Metroid. I think the test is definitely The Legend of Zelda. That's the test. I think somebody commented about being somebody. If I'm not mistaken, somebody commented about Metroid being a movie not too long ago. I want to say if it's an actor or it was actually a director said something about that, but Metroid makes sense. It's a sci-fi. It's going to be an easy transition to a Hollywood experience in the movie theaters. Just like I knew Zelda would be an easy transition, so I wasn't shocked when Zelda was announced. I said Zelda was going to be the next movie after the Mario Brothers movie. After the Mario Brothers movie did great the first weekend, I said they're going to do a Zelda movie, and they're doing a Zelda movie. So if Zelda does great, they're going to do a Metroid. And then if Metroid does great, then the gates is open for everything at that point. Because at that point, that's what you want to get. You want to get Mario, Metroid, Zelda. That's your big three. So it's going to go in that order. Their big three is Mario, Metroid, Zelda. So they got Mario, they got Zelda. Obviously, Metroid would be the next one to go. So I have high hopes for this Zelda movie. It needs to be good. It has to be good. It has to be good. Luigi Mansion 1 with 3DS stuff will probably be remade. But what do you think? I don't know. I don't think there's no point in doing Luigi's Mansion 1 right now. I don't think there's no point. Yeah, I don't think there's no point in that doing that right now. I think they did enough. They did Luigi Mansion 3. They redid 2. I think that's good enough. I don't think they need to do nothing else. I don't blame the moves at Sony, to be honest, as they burn through money. But what are your thoughts? Um, I gave my thoughts earlier when I went a whole rant about them. But yeah, I think the development costs for these interactive movies that they're making is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. The budget for Spider-Man 2 it was insane when Insomniac had that leak and you seen what the budget was. It's ridiculous. And that game is like 10 hours long. Like it's like there's no reason for games to have a budget that big. And this is why they came in and Hiroki came in and slashed all that shit. And they canceled all that games because they was bleeding money. They was tired of bleeding money for stuff that they shouldn't have been bleeding money for. So it's I think Hiroki has a great plan, but I don't think he has a great plan that the Sony fanboys would like. That's how I feel about that. Um, so I think people need to understand about the Zelda movie. Sony's not making the Zelda movie. Sony is part of the distribution of the Zelda movie. we know exactly who's making the Zelda movie. It's that director from the Marvel movies and Miyamoto. Like Sony's on for the distribution deal. Like that's what they're on for. And I think that's interesting that they obviously advocated Nintendo to do that. They understand how much money Zelda is going to bring, so they guess they basically got on that. So that's hilarious to me. I think that's funny. They definitely it's funny. It's funny how you know people talk so much about Sony being this, being that, and they made sure they attached their ass to that Zelda movie quickly and efficiently. They wasn't going to try to. They wasn't not. They was not going to let that opportunity pass them by to make some money off of the Legend of Zelda movie. I think that's hilarious. So, how soon until Platinum Games stop playing hard to get and becomes a Nintendo studio? I don't know. Uh with homeboy that just recently left, and I always mess up his name. Akima, you know, the original Bayonetta director. Um, I figured Platinum Games was about to be acquired by Nintendo, but we haven't heard anything. He's left. You know, I think it's almost like 9 months ago, or was it even a year ago at this point? It's been a while, and we haven't heard anything from Platinum Games. We haven't heard anything about what Platinum Games is developing. So there's a lot of talent at that studio, and I know he was against being acquired, and now he's not there anymore. And his reasons for leaving was uh, differences in the direction of the company. So that's why I figured it was going to be acquired, and it was probably going to be Nintendo, but it hasn't happened. So um, I'm not really worried about Platinum Games if they continue to stay independent, but it's pretty obvious that they do their best work under Nintendo. They do their best in the work when they're under the Nintendo umbrella. That's where they do their best work. Bayonetta 2, Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain, Wonderful 101, Cereza and the Lost Demon. I think the proof is in the pudding. They do their best work when they're under Nintendo. Granted, they done great outside of Nintendo with Vanquish and Mad World, and obviously Bayonetta 1, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. But I think recently and presently their best work is under the supervision of Nintendo. And Nintendo lets them be themselves. They don't really, get in their way of how they want to make games, and it's been a beneficial relationship. One thing we could say without a shadow of a doubt, Platinum Games has sold the most games on Nintendo's platforms, and they only been with Nintendo for a console and a half, where they was everybody everywhere else for years. They have sold the most games they have sold has been on Nintendo platforms. So at this point, I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. If they still want to be independent, but I think they need to go ahead and do it because it'll give them ease of mind. Nintendo has not shown that they impede on what they want to do. They fund them very handsomely to make the games, so I don't understand why it didn't happen yet. It's kind of like a perfect match that just has not matched. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So um, I would like to see it though. I would like to see it. I would like to see it for definitely for sure. Um and oh yeah, they also did Near Automata. Forgot about that. But that was Square Enix, so that was great as well. But yet again, the most games they have sold have been on Nintendo platform. So Bayonetta is basically a Nintendo character now. I mean, she really obviously can't exist outside of Nintendo platform now, especially after Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. It's like because Nintendo owns the rights to that, so you're not going to see those games anywhere else. They're not going to release anywhere else because it's that's the deal they have. So it's like they just might as well, you know. I don't know. Sega's just holding on to the IP simply because they're getting a cut of the fucking money. But they need to go ahead and let it go too, and just let Nintendo have her. I mean, it's she's basically part of the family now. That's how I feel about it. She's basically part of the family now. I don't know why they holding on to her. Um, and I mean, Astral Chain is a Nintendo franchise. They own that outright. Platinum doesn't own that, and I'm pretty sure the director already said he has a plan for Astral Chain to be a trilogy. So I definitely want to see that play out. So it's like I don't know I don't know what's taking so long, but they need to go ahead and do that. All I know is that I hope they're already working on Astral Chain 2, and I hope they already in the pre-production stages of the next Bayonetta game because I'm ready for that. And I also want to see them bring back Vanquish. Like Vanquish, it was a game such before way before its time. Like it was way before its time. I think that franchise would really thrive right now in today's market. Uh, I think Sega's good where they're at. I want to see how Sega handles their resurrection of their franchises with the remakes of Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio and all the other ones they showed. I want to see how they handle that first. Um, they seem to have the new leadership and they seem to have an idea of what they want to do. So I want to see how they handle that first, honestly. I really do. Um, Whatever happened to Scalebound being revived? If you played Bayonetta 3, then you know Scalebound was revived on Switch already. All the mechanics in Scalebound was in Bayonetta 3. That's where the revival happened. So yeah, that's how that rumor ended up being true. Because if you just watch old Scalebound gameplay, then you watch gameplay Bayonetta 3, you see exactly where Scalebound went. Is that simple. Is that simple. I think Travis touchdown has been tarnished too much to being smashed now. It's kind of sad because No More Heroes 1 was great. No More Heroes 2 was excellent. That was a game of the year contender the year that came out. It was excellent. And it all went downhill from there. You had the 2D side scrolling bullshit that Suda 51 did, and No More Heroes 3 did not live up to what it should have been at all. It's like the game didn't progress with the gaming technology. So it's going to be hard for Travis Touchdown to get back to what he once was. But as you can see him on my screen, from obviously No More Heroes 2 Desperate Struggle, that was the pinnacle of No More Heroes right there. That was the pinnacle of the franchise. It went all downhill from after that. Very disappointed in that, but it's going to take a lot of work from Soda 51 to really revive Travis Touchdown to the fandom that he had before. Because I don't know what the fuck No More Heroes 3 was. It was like a 360 game that got released on 2 generations later hardware. It was not up to date. Just make it just to make the wound a little bit easy. You know what I mean? To make the wound a little bit easy. Uh, Astral Chain 2. I think that is going to be ready. As y'all can remember, Lappy was in the Bayonetta 3 trailer, the little dog costume. So I think that was a little wink, wink that we're working on Astral Chain too. So Otherwise, they would have never put that in the Bayonetta 3 trailer. Like, there was no point in teasing that if Astral Chain wasn't continuing. So I wouldn't be shocked if Astral Chain ends up being a launch window game or a launch game, period, for the Switch 2. As it did very well for them. And it's a new IP, and it's really loved by a lot of people. And that game, as great as that game was, and as great as that game is, and as great as that game solidifies itself as one of the best action games of all time, there is a lot that game can expand on. I am an Astral Chain fanatic. Y'all already know that. Like, I'm an Astral Chain fanatic, bro. 100%. 100% Astral Chain fanatic. So, any more questions before we get on wrap this thing on up? Before we wrap this thing on out of here? Any more questions? I done got the damn hiccups talking to y'all over here dissing Sony and talking shit. I got the hiccups out here because of y'all, man. But yeah, one thing I do want to say, I'm out there. I want to say this to Namco. I want to say this to their face. Soul Calibur, just bring it back exclusively to Nintendo platform. Don't worry about what happened with Soul Calibur 6. Definitely don't worry about what happened with Soul Calibur 5. Jesus Christ. Go back to your roots. Bring in guest characters. Make it exclusive for Nintendo Switch. Thank me later. That's all y'all got to do. Bandai Namco. That's all y'all have to do. Project Soul. I know y'all chopping at the bit to make another game. That's all y'all have to do, man. That's all you have to do. You know, if you have to ask Nintendo to put Link back in that mug, so be it. But I think y'all have a potential to really do something great with Soul Calibur. That's one of my favorite fighting games of all time. But y'all have to get back to the guest characters that people actually want to play. Nobody gave a damn about Geralt Rivera. You know, it's like, okay, whatever, Geralt. Like, get back to the guest characters that people want to play. That people actually want to play, and get back on Nintendo's platforms, because you do well on Nintendo's platforms when it comes to Soul Calibur. We even brought that trash ass Soul Calibur Legends game that y'all released on Wii. Like, I don't understand Bandai Namco's stance on why Soul Calibur has not touched a Nintendo platform since Soul Calibur Legends on the Wii. It's like it didn't make any sense, but yeah, get back to it. What does that question? What does that question even mean? Wait, what? Hold up, I'm gonna skip something. Yeah, I think Astral Chain can reach past Bayonetta levels. I think Astral Chain has a little bit more broader appeal than Bayonetta has, because Bayonetta has a very strict window of mature sexualization things going on, while Astral Chain has a broader appeal with the twin characters and obviously the different style of the gameplay. So yeah, I can see it actually being a bigger franchise than Bayonetta, which is shocking to actually say, because Bayonetta is pretty big now. So I don't know. Future of Crash. I don't like Crash Bandicoot, so he can go to hell. Uh, any hope for Killer Instinct? Nah. I think Killer Instinct is good as dead, to be honest with y'all. I don't think Microsoft has a studio that can make a fighting game. That's basically why I say that's good as dead. I mean, they don't have a studio that can make a fighting game. So that's just that. What do you mean, MILF hunters? What is that supposed to? What, y'all crazy? Y'all tripping right now. I'm about to get up out of here because we talking very suspect now. We talking very suspect now. I'm about to get up on out of this month right now, But yeah, Phil Spencer, he's a lying piece of shit. Don't let Microsoft bully you like that, Phil. Don't let them bully you like that, bruh. Like, hold your ground. Stand 10 toes down on what you believe in for the Xbox brand. If you have to end up losing your job and leaving, so be it. Somebody will hire you. Somebody will definitely hire you. It's just sad to see the state of where Xbox is going because, like I said, I think a big three needs to be. There needs to be a big three in gaming. What's the next time you're going live? I don't know. If something crazy happened, I might go live tomorrow. I'm gonna try to be more consistent with the lives now. You know what I mean? Not trying to have so much time in between them, but definitely if everybody hit the like button, that would entice me. You know what I'm saying? To actually go live more. You know what I mean? By hitting the damn like button. It costs you $0.00 to press the like button. You know what I mean? So that might entice me to actually do more lives. You know what I mean? But because I do need to do more. I do need to do more, especially when it's coming down to the nitty gritty. We get into the holiday season, the fall season, all the great games coming out. So yeah, hit that like button. Switch 2 reveal can happen at any point in time from now to March. So yeah, I definitely probably need to be doing a little bit more live streaming. Just a little bit more live streaming. I'm not streaming those damn games. I said last year I'm not streaming the Game Awards ever again. I'm not streaming them ever again. I'll do a reaction after it's over, but that live streaming, I'm never doing that again. It's the biggest catastrophe of bullshit I've ever seen in gaming. It doesn't respect gaming. It's a laughing stock. It's embarrassing. And this year is going to be quite embarrassing because obviously the quality of games that have been coming out has been subpar. So right now you don't have any game that's definitively game of the year. Everything has been so really low rated. Have not been reviewing so well. So it's like we're gonna have another year of a down year where something is gonna win game of the year, which really ain't game of the year material. That's really where we're heading right now. So, because ain't nothing. Maybe Dragon Dogma 2, maybe that. I think that's the highest rated thing, and that's at an 89. So, a remake can't be nominated for Game of the Year 2 years in a fucking row. That's just retarded when it comes to Final Fantasy VII. It's the same damn game. Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, this is gonna be another weird year, which makes me really not want to watch it. I'm not streaming it. I'll probably tune in just to catch an announcement if something crazy happens. Nintendo might announce something crazy. They've done it before, but I'm not streaming that ever again. It's just disgusting. Um, Bring back the Kojima video you did like 2 years ago about Death Stranding. I don't know what that video is. I gotta go see if that video is even on here anymore, bro. Like y'all bringing up the old stuff, bro. Good God. Um, man, I don't want to talk nothing about no Death Stranding anymore. Like, ugh. Oh man, Gamescom was boring as hell. We need E3 back. Echoes of Wisdom. That's gonna be hard for win game of the year. I don't see that game getting high 90s. So I don't think that's gonna be game of the year at all. I don't think so at all. Maybe Mario and Luigi Brothers Ship has a shot. Maybe. I would have said Indiana Jones, but it's coming out in December, so it's not even gonna qualify. Avowed got delayed, so it's like there's really nothing. There's nothing. There's really nothing that's really going to stand out from Game of the Year. And Dragon Dogma 2 might end up taking it, but people have kind of gone cold on that game pretty badly. So I have no idea. I just know it's going to be ended up being, well, this is going to win because we have no better option type of year. Like that's what it's going to end up being. What games make you feel like you're literally in the game? I don't know. I guess Madden. I'm a Madden fanatic. I love me Madden. Yo, you remember the turn down for what video for Wii U? You know what's so funny? I was actually going through my computer and I seen that video on my hard drive and I watched it and I was like, yo, this video was fire, bro. Turned down for what? Yo, that video was fire, bro. Oh man, that video was really good. I can't believe somebody remembers that, bro. That was a that was a that was a crazy video, man. If a lot of people don't know, if you watching, I used to make these video montages, music videos. Man, they used to be fire, bro. I made like at least 4 or 5 of them. They was always fire. But that turned down for what? The Wii U one was fire. I did one for We Taking Over by DJ Khaled for the Wii. That one was fire. Oh man, that was that was a fire video, bro. And I did one for Takers by T.I. I forgot what the name of that video was. I can't find that one. I can't find that one at all. I don't know what happened to it. Guess it got deleted. But oh man, I got that turned down for what video? I'm gonna actually go look and see if I can find that bug though. I'm gonna see if I can find that bug on here somewhere, bro. Because I remember I watched it off my hard drive, bro. And I don't know if I deleted it or not. Because it's like it's Wii U. That didn't end too well. But anyway, yeah, hit that like button. You know what I mean. Keep your eye out on the community tab. You know, I'll be putting out these polls and these quizzes that I need y'all to interact with. You know what I'm saying. Until then, make sure you keep getting your manyan. You feel what I'm saying? Keep getting your manyan, and you know what I mean. Slap a Sony drone for me if you see him in public. Slap a Sony fanboy for me. You know, slap some sense in him. You know, until then, you know what I'm saying? Your boy is out of here. And I'm gonna leave y'all with one more image.